Welcome to another program, the second in the series of How to Find God. Yesterday, in the first of the series, I gave you an introduction as to what we will be covering in the series and what you can expect at the end of the road. I hope it was clear. And today, the second in the series is a very important subject, and it is, what is God all about? That's a huge subject. I can only scratch the surface or show you the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, on this subject. It's a vast, vast subject. Some 45 years ago, I took a course for 3 months. It was a long time ago. And this course was a study of God based on the book I mentioned yesterday, the book that has hundreds of people who had related to God and God relating to them. And this God who works in history with human beings, among human beings, this great God. It was a wonderful study. And of course, in the course of this 45 years, I've been adding to that knowledge and experiencing this God in a personal way, in a wonderful way. Today, I can say God is very real to me and very near to me. And this is why I'm excited about sharing this whole subject of how to find God. I believe there's only one God for all of us, humanity, whether you believe in Him, whether you're against Him, whether you have found other gods to follow, whatever your case be. Maybe you are ignorant of the whole thing, we don't know. Whatever your case be, the truth of the matter is there is only one God. And so I want to talk about this one God and how does God communicate to us? How do we seek to learn about God? Well, there are many ways to go about it. And in the time that has been given to me, I tried to be not too long, but in the time given to me, I like to show you what God is like from His different roles. God has in the good book, or in the God book, I call the book, with all these stories of hundreds, maybe thousands of people who interacted with God, and they put those things in writing over a period of 1,400 some years' time. That's an incredible story. The first writer was 1,450 years ago, 50 years before the last writer, and the last writer was 2,000 years ago. An incredible development. That's how God decided to communicate His message to us. So I call it God book, because the main lesson from that God is, what is God like? So this evening, I'm sitting down here in the evening, it's 8 something, actually at night now, and I'm going to be talking about God from how He has expressed Himself. And I'm going to be reading more and more from the good book, or the God's book, the God book. And so I hope you can follow and get an idea of what God is like. The first and the main way God has communicated with us. By the way, you can never know God by your ingenuity, by your imaginations, by looking inside you, by your meditations. You inside is a deep, dark pit, and from that comes no knowledge of God. You only produce what you are. And what you are is most usually godless. And so don't expect to find God by looking inside you. You'll be wasting your life. This is why you can only know God if He tells you who He is. And He has revealed Himself the most intelligent way it can be done. No myths here, no mystery here. It is reality, rational. It's for intelligent, thinking human beings and people who are honest, people who want the truth. They can decide for themselves. As I mentioned yesterday, God will not force you into His way. Evil spirits does that. Evil human beings do that. A good person will give you choice. And God is good. The devil is bad. That's something I learned a long time ago. Don't let the evil all around you make you think. Don't start some kind of a theology, knowledge of God from your failed experiences. Life is much more than that. So the first way God has created to us is through His story of creation. His story of creation. And the first pages of this God book, this wonderful, amazing book, the first thing God said to humanity, which our first author wrote down, I think it was said, anyway, I won't go into all that. He wrote it down for us. And here is how it goes. And I hope you can follow me. And this, I would say, this is the account. Well, the writers put on top of it the account of creation, the creation story, they say. But I like to call this the Creator's story, the story the Creator is telling us, the Creator's story. And it begins like this. In the beginning, God is saying this. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Heavens means all that's all over. The universe, in short. In the beginning, God. So He was there before the universe was there. He was there. In the beginning, God, He created the heavens and the earth, the universe. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the water, just like a mother hen, mother bird, hatching the egg. God's Spirit is hovering over the earth. Verse 3, it says, Then God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. He made a good thing because God is good. Then He separated light from darkness and called the light day and the darkness night. Evening passed, morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, Let there be space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth. And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of heavens. God called the space sky. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, Let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground appear. And that's what happened. God simply said it, and that's what happened. God called the dry land dry ground, land, and the waters, seas. Sea. And God saw that it was good. Is the word good again. Then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from what they came. And that's what happened. So God simply said, gave an explanation of what you want, and that's what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produce plants and trees of the same kind. So mango tree produced more mango tree, not apple tree. The apple tree produced more apple tree. The apple tree doesn't produce mango tree. That's what it means. And God saw that it was good. By the way, I'm inserting my comments in between this. It's not like the apple tree, mango tree is not in this story. And evening passed, and the morning came, marking the third day. Then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine on the earth. And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day, that of course is the sun, and the smaller one to govern the night, that of course is the moon. And he made the stars. We know there are billions of stars out there. And God simply says, he also made the stars. Then it goes on to say, God set these lights in the sky to light the earth. I guess that's speaking mainly of the sun and the moon. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and night, and to separate the light from darkness. And God saw it was good. It's the third time. God saw it was good. He's only creating that which is good because he's a good God. And evening passed and morning came, marking the fourth day. Then God said, let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. So he created great sea monsters and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. So there is no evolution here. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on earth. And evening passed and morning came, marking the fifth day. Then God said, let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, wild animals. And that is what happened. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us. They will reign. It means rule or look after, govern. They will reign over the fish in the sea, birds in the sky, the livestock, and all wild animals on the earth. And the small animals that scurry along the ground. So man is put in charge of all these living things. Verse 27, Well, that was God's plan. Verse 27. I have this, what I'm reading has verses, so you can easily find it next time. So God created human beings in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. In other translation, it makes very clear he's talking about two persons, a man and a woman, out of whom all these varieties of humanity came, human beings came. First, God created one man, and this is explained further in the book. So he says he made them male and female, not males and females, but male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, govern it, reign over the fish in the sea, birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. Then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given you every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life. And that's what happened. Then God looked over all he has made, and he saw that it was very good. And evening passed, morning came, making the sixth day. You know what? I believe this God made me. You may not believe it, but I know this God is the maker of all human beings. Besides all these other things we read, animals, plants, trees, fish, birds, all that came on. In so few words, sentences, here is God telling us how he brought this universe into being. What does this tell you about God? Well, number one, it tells you he's the creator of everything. He's your creator and my creator of everything. He's your creator and mine. And it tells you he had a plan for everything. Everything reproduces its own kind. Man and woman reproduces their own kind. Elephant produces elephants, not horses. And so God has put boundaries for everything. Put boundaries for everything. A mango tree doesn't become an apple tree. But each can multiply in its own family, in its own kind. This is amazing. This is amazing. Let me read on a little bit. So the creation of heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. On the seventh day, God had finished the work of creation, so he rested. Rested means he stopped creating. That means everything you see in the universe today was created in that 7 days. Nothing new has been created ever since. It's only the multiplication of the same thing. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was on that day when he rested from his work of creation. So that's where we begin. We get our 7-day week. This is where we have come to accept 1 day a week as a day of rest. The one who created us knew we need a day of rest. And there's so much to this, but I won't go into this. But I like the fact that God created human beings in his image. That means in his character. That is, in his abilities, like creativity, for example. Human beings have creativity, limited, but we have seen all the creative activities of human beings over these centuries, especially in this last century and this one. What a tremendous progress. Rationality, ability to reason, think, sort out problems, bring solutions. These are all God's abilities which He has put into us. Well, I won't dwell on it, but that's one way we know God. He is the creator of everything, and all He had to do was speak. Let there be light. There was light. This is why I don't worship the sun or the moon or the trees or anything. I worship the Creator who created all these things. His mighty power. There's a wonderful song that we sing, "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands hath made. I see the stars. I see," and it goes on to explain, "and then sings my soul," it says, "how great you are." That's why God gave us these things. And it does not honor God, neither does it please it when I take His glory and give it to animals, birds, or whatever else. He is the creator, and it all came from Him, and the honor goes to Him. Worship, praise, thanksgiving go to Him. So that's one way we know how God has revealed Himself to us. There's another way God has revealed Himself to us. I must go very quickly. A couple of books into this God's good book. We have, well, into the second book actually. There in the 20th chapter, we call it. There we have God assembling the Jewish people. You better love them. I know they are hated by everybody. There's a reason for it. It's a spiritual reason. I won't go into that now. But He assembled 2 or 3 million of them in the deserts of Sinai, in Mount Sinai, a historical place. Truly happened. God came down from heaven on Mount Sinai while people are standing in the plains down below, and He gave them 10 commandments. 10 commandments. All the rules we have in the world today is breaking up, multiplying, explaining those 10 commandments. And these were slaves in Egypt. In great mighty power, God delivered them from the power of Egypt, historical. By the way, this God who works in history, I won't go into that now. He gave 10 commandments. And it said, then God gave the people all these instructions, that's commandments. I am the Lord your God, who rescued you from the land of Egypt, the place of slavery. So He's the Creator God who saved these people, and He's going to prepare them to be messengers of God all over the world. But first He has to help them to know Him better. So He gives His commandments. So here He goes. So the first one is, you must have no other God but me. Who is this me? This God who created the heavens and the earth. And all that has been said about Him in the pages following up until now. And of course, more would be said in the pages to follow. So God says, you must have no other God. You must not have any other God but me, because there's no one else. Then He says, secondly, you must not make for yourself an idol of any kind or an image of anything in the heavens or on the earth or in the sea. You must not bow down to them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God who will not tolerate your affection for any other gods. I will lay the sins of the parents upon the children, and the entire family is affected, even your children, to third and fourth generations of those who reject me. But I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and obey me. God says, don't make an idol, because there is no idol that can represent the living, loving, righteous Creator. Because everything you can make is what He has made and given life to. Now let me go on. Number 7, do not misuse, or you must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not let you go